Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil. I am the Down Under Maker. How is everybody this morning? It's 3 a.m. I'm awake. My eye appears to be all red and pink and icky, so hopefully it's not too disgusting on the screen. It's been a fun week. I've got lots of stuff done with the Vivid, and I've been having a chat with a couple of the guys from the Box Turtle team, and get rid of that echo before it annoys me. They have started work and have a working version of AFC for the Vivid. So once I've finished my official testing duties, I'm going to be swapping it over to the AFC software, and it's going to be fun. Yay, audio worked from the get-go. I'm winning. Thanks, Penguin. Let's say hello to everybody. We've got Raj here, we've got Jeff here, we've got Kegel here, Greenbeard's here. Who else? Anybody? Well, I think I've covered all the usual suspects. If I've missed anybody, I apologize. It's early, so yeah. Now, I just need to get rid of something off my screen because if I see myself, it confuses me and I might disappear. Can't be in the two places at once because it freaks me out. Pro streamer. Hi, Ajay. So, let's get started with a little bit of a mailbag thing going. Ready for a tool head coming to us sometime in the near future. I have a crossbow cutter ready for, I think it's A4T? Yeah, A4T. I picked this up off an Aussie guy who's changing direction with his printing. And for those of you who haven't seen crossbow, this is the Physec version, what DW has called the official version. So yeah, but that's the cutter. This guy also a while back did a group buy for a bunch of Aussies with some connector boards. So 2-pin JST connectors. It's a bit over bright, I'm sorry, but yeah. So there's 3s, 4s, and 5s for JST XH connecting together stuff. So he very kindly threw those into with the crossbow when he sent it. So how did I put that? There. So that's one thing that came this week. And the other thing that came this week, as you guys know, if you've been here before, I have a giant roll. Oh, morning, Nick and Brad. I have an issue with the humidity here, and it affects my filament. So another huge roll of filament bags. Now, more printer-related stuff. It looks like crap at the moment because it needs cleaning up from the stresses off the print bed. But that is a one-piece base for the Delta Flyer when we get there. Hi, Mike. So that will be fitted. But before I can do that, I do need to thread tap the bases of the extrusion so that it can be screwed up to the bottom. But we'll get there. That is for post-build shenanigans. I'm probably not going to do it as part of the normal series. It'll be like a post series of making sure we've got all the nice to haves on there. It's 6 a.m. here and I'm already at work. Dude. I don't see Alex here. Yeah, I'm assuming Alex is around. He's always around. So we've got Nick, and we've got Mike and Brad. Yeah, I mentioned all of the above. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we did a whole bunch of putting panels together, and I screwed up a little bit. I had a 50-50 chance, and I got the 50-50 wrong. Oh, Alex raided in. Thanks, Alex. I screwed up with the magnets. And I think I mentioned this last week. I had to reprint this part because it got destroyed when I was removing the magnet from it to put it on the right way around. So let's, before we go any further, there he is. Not looking hard enough, we raided him. Okay, it didn't actually pop up on my screen to say raid, so. But then I only currently have the chat open. I don't have the full YouTube experience. That's in. Where's my kitchen towel gone? I had a whole roll of it. My wife's probably ninja'd it again. I just wiped off with my fingers. There we go. My fingers are probably going to stick together now. Tempt fate, rub my hands together. I think I got away with it. My fingernails are very heavily stuck to my fingers now, but that'll do. It popped up on our end. Okay, well, at least it worked. So that's the magnet on that piece fixed. Let's put this one back in here before I lose it. And let's bring the printer in. So last week, we got to this stage. And everything was going well apart from this one. It was this one. Was a little bit too tight. I thought I'd over-tighten the belt. It turned out, when I did a little bit of checking, I need to be careful because there's a piece under here. It turned out that the pulley was actually pressing against the plastic. I hadn't adjusted it properly. So a little bit of a tweak with the Allen keys to undo the pulley and slide it along on the shaft a little bit and put it all back together. And it's now sliding just the same as both of the others. So that's all that was. The other things I've noticed along the way, I missed a couple of heat sets. So I'll warm up my normal soldering iron because it's not going to work on the heat set press. And we'll get that one and a couple of the other spots I've missed. We'll get that sorted out. My fingernails are always firmly attached to my fingers. Mine aren't, Mike. I had a couple of accidents along the way and my nail beds are destroyed. So some of my nails let go easily. I used Fusion Filaments Plutonic Purple for the carriages and had to paint the flags with black Sharpie. I've used the Polymaker Galaxies, and the blue appears to be opaque. Appears to be. I do have a black Sharpie here if I need to, Luke. Thanks for the heads up. So that soldering iron is well on its way to warm. One, two, three, four. Actually, before I start, metal ruler. That way I can make sure it's all pressed in nice and square. Done. Next one. Two. Now, I am going to take it on the chin that I'm going half blind. My eyes are old. I'm old. But I do partially blame this on the lack of contrast on the instruction manual. As we've seen a couple of times with the guide, it's not very friendly in terms of seeing where some of these parts go. And why you could argue there's a hole there, stick a heat set in it. That's not as helpful as it could be. So that, just quickly whizzing around the frame, making sure I've not missed any others. I don't think so. No, that appears to be all in place. So put that over there out of the way. Now, we've all seen heat sets chucked in more than once, so I'm not going to go over that a lot. Let's go to screen 3, which is my push up of the build guide. Now, we have skipped up and down here a little bit, and I've been reading through the manual just to get ahead a little bit. The next part we have to do is these effector arms. And I've been waiting for my shipment to arrive from a fiberglass manufacturer, and it hasn't come. So in that is a whole bunch of epoxy resin kind of stuff, and it never got here. So here we go. What we need to do is we need to assemble all these effector arms. This is the jig that comes in the printed document, the printed files, and I've got that printed out, and we just need to use that to assemble everything. So make sure the lid is on the super glue. And put that on the end of my desk so I see it every time I walk past. I had to go to the local equivalent of Home Depot, Bunnings for all you Aussies. And you UK people, you'll know what Bunnings is. We had an ill-fated attempt to break into that market. Don't go pee directly after using super glue. Dude. Yeah, I can see why that would be an issue. So I went out and I spent lots of money on some very expensive 5-minute epoxy. I normally buy resin in like 500 grams / 500 mil kind of levels per part, and spending $7 Aussie on that kind of made me cry a little bit. Now, what can I use for stirring it on? Why don't I just use the back of the pack? That'll work. So what we need to do is we need to get this all put together. And we need to do 6 of them. Jose from LDO, hello. Everybody say hi, Jose. Now, Jose was on somebody's stream the other day. I forget which who it was. And I invited him to come say hi. Hopefully, Jose likes what he sees here, and he can hook us up with some good stuff at some stage. But no pressure, man. Nice to have you along anyway. Lots of threaded things. 3 by 25 millimeter 2 pieces. Use 2 M3 by 20 to align everything. Did you know you can stop the stream and electric keeps flowing? Okay, I have no idea what's RJ's on about, but that's nothing unusual. Now, small observation. If I was going to do this again and I didn't check ahead of time, I would have put a recess into the plastic part to allow the screws to sit flush. So let's go back to that one. So the screw heads are going to sit out, and that's going to make sitting on the bench kind of sucky. So what I propose to do at this stage, guys, is I'm going to put these all together. Each time we put one together, we're going to glue it. And then we're going to move on, do a little bit on the printer, and come back and do back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we've got this all assembled. It's the only practical way to get this done on stream if you want to see this. If you'd rather not see this, just shout and I will do it off stream. I really don't care. I'm here to entertain you. There's one pack of shafts. Two packs of shafts. Now these are the 105s. And there's 6 of those. I'm just going through and making sure I've got all of my stars aligned before I start mixing up glue. That's all there. Jet joints. Now, I'm just reading through the manual very carefully here, and it says, be extra careful gluing things together. Do them one at a time on a single printed jig for the best results. That's what we're going to do. There are 2 different sets of carbon rods in the kit. 100mm long is for the joints that are included. 105 is for making arms using the optional MP jets. So we don't need the 105s at this point because we're going to use the included joints. Correct me if I'm wrong. Down Under Maker is legit. Oh, thanks, Nick. Plus, he is a lot closer to China and Australia, so no tariff nonsense. There is that. If you send me free stuff, then you don't have to worry about tariffs. Now, I saw a trick on somebody's stream. Well, who was it? I don't remember. And what they did was they put the threaded rod into there. Then they put the, that's M3 by 30, M3 by 30, just making sure it'll, yeah, it must be each end, yeah. They did this. And that sped everything up. So if they can do it, I can do it. "22 people watching, but only 8 likes. Come on, guys. Are you not entertained? I'm trying hard here. Jeff would have hit the like button, Alex. What are you talking about? It's probably people like Penguin. Penguin doesn't like me. Thanks, Nick. For those of you who are only listening, Nick says, because I'm in Australia, it has to be a thumbs down for me. We're at 9 thumbs up. Come on, guys. Don't make me do all that YouTuber stuff. Button for gotitis. Thanks, Brad. So, I'm not going to sit and do all of them right now, but that's enough for 2.5 rods. Actually, you know what we can do to speed things up just a little bit? If we do 7 of these, we can do all of one end of these shafts all at once. I'm going to chuck these in the I almost said SAP porter, part sorter, so I don't lose them. And then we've got 7. Now, why am I doing this with the power screwdriver / drill? When I built the 3D Sets roadie truck on stream, what, 5 months ago now, I gave myself a repetitive strain injury in my hand. And as a result, I get sore if I do lots and lots and lots and lots of screwdrivering. So, where are we at? We've got the screws in. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, thinking about this, we could do all of the ends and just worry about gluing them in the middle on the jig afterwards. Let's do that. Because that will mean that we also have all of these threaded rods in the right place. That's the smooth rods to fill, not the right ones. But that's no fun. Besides, Alex, it's 5-minute epoxy, which means, in theory, 1 hour and it's done. Yes, it won't be at full strength for 24 hours, but I'm not using day set. That sucks. What's your bean of choice today? I'm again drinking Bearded Barista. Whether it has any link to Bearded Printer, we're not 100% sure. He won't confirm or deny. And Alex, if you'd raided in on 30 seconds earlier, you would have heard that I've been waiting for 2 weeks for a shipment of epoxy resins, and it still hasn't arrived. So I had to go to my local equivalent of Home Depot and pick up some off-the-shelf stuff. Bring this in a little closer so you guys can see it a little bit more. Sorry, guys. That's better. And the last one. So the reason I buy bulk epoxy is back in my misspent youth, I used to build lots of model aeroplanes, and it taught me how to fiberglass. And I became quite good at it. So I've got a few people who I get calls from on a regular basis to fix things like surfboards. And I'm pretty good at it. Not tooting my own horn or anything, but over time I've got pretty good at it. Now, 2-pack epoxy, get the blobs as close to the same amount as you can. One thing I like about this pack, it used to be back in the day, it was 2 round nozzles. These are offset nozzles with a slope on there, which means you can't accidentally put the wrong cap on the wrong nozzle and set off your entire bottle. Now, what you mix it on, ideally it would be a ceramic tile. I don't have any ceramic tiles around that are in anything small enough at the moment. Not for what we're doing here. Or if you're doing a big batch like I tend to do for surfboards, etc., then I've got a bucket that I do it in. Now, with epoxy resin, you don't need a lot. If you use a lot, you'll make a big mess. You just have to trust. All the way up. And a quick wipe around the outside to get rid of the excess. What can I stand these up in? Aha! The good people over at BuyQ/Big Tree Tech sent me a mug, a pewter mug. So I'm going to use that to stand them up in. So. Now, in principle, I should be using nitrile gloves. I know Penguin is a huge fan of nitrile gloves, but for the very small amounts I'm using here, I'm not too stressed. The other thing you can do when you're dealing with threaded rods is you can twist this on, and it will suck some of the excess down the threads as you advance it, and leave you with a relatively clean edge. And because I got the amount of epoxy right on that one, I'm using a little bit less than I was on the first couple. The little twist was enough to make it a nice clean joint without having to wipe it. Let's get back to chat. They haven't had mixing trays in the packs for quite a while, Jeff. It's sorry, Jeff said that this brand used to come with a little mixing tray in the pack. It's a case of when you're competing with lesser products, most people aren't going to appreciate the little niceties like a tray. Penguin has so many nitrile gloves. We know about your fetish, dude. We know about your fetish. A little bit too much on that one. Just reading through chat as I'm doing this here. Alex, the reason he goes through so many gloves is he likes to play with cancer boxes. You know, those resin things. Have I screwed up? I think I might have screwed up. I'm just reading this again. Glue the arms together using M3 by 30 rods between. Hi, Jeff. Call him on Discord. Stop for the love of God. You already have 6. I've just realized that issue, Alex. Again, with these instructions not being the best, it doesn't make that 100% obvious, does it? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fortunately, I was catching myself. I'm just going to go grab some kitchen roll. Back in a moment. Hey Siri, turn the kitchen lights off. Sorry if I turned everybody's lights off. Abort. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jumbo bog roll. What? No idea what Penguin's on about. Okay, so that's all sorted, I think. So where we're at, we aborted. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rods all glued. Let's read these instructions again together. Not that one. Not that one. This one. This one, Phil. Glue the arms together using M3 by 30 rods between the joints and the 100mm rods using the printed jig. Use 2 M3 by 20 in the jig to align everything. It then goes on to explain that there's 2 different sizes of rods, but it doesn't make anything else particularly clear. So, Siri said it can't find the kitchen light, and neither can my ex-wife. Okay, Brad. Let's take a stop here and let's just check a few things. We have a whole bunch of threaded rods. We have 2 smooth shafts. In the picture, it very clearly shows M3 by 30 in both ends, matching to scale. Is it that I'm supposed to use these threaded couplers on the ends, on one end of each of them, and then use these halfway down? Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? I just noticed there's a little bit of extra epoxy on this one, so I'm stripping it entirely. You use the jig to be sure that you glue the, so they're all the same. Now, I am not stupid, or at least I hope I'm not. I'm reading this instruction manual, and it's not clear. It really isn't. I mean, when you're building on a stream like this, you feel a certain amount of extra pressure because you've got all these people talking to you over your shoulder at the same time as doing it. And I accept that that sometimes clouds my judgment and I do silly things because I'm doing it under a little bit more pressure. But the instructions don't help. So use the jig to be sure that when you glue the other side on, they are all the same. So like that. Okay. I'm confused then. Why do I have so damn many? Okay. Tell them to add a note to that now. So I've got 6. I had way too many arrow shafts then. Like way too many. I had 12 of the 100 mil. And I've got 6 of the 105s. Okay. Weird. I guess I got lots and lots and lots of spares if I do screw things up. Now this is doing its job and it's reached its 5 minutes. Now I've got a better understanding of what's going on. Time for me to stop, take a breath, have some coffee. So Jose, while you're doing it, and you're putting that note, maybe we need a, that one. Maybe we need the recesses in the jig as well. That would be awesome. Thank you for that. Now for Jose, just in case you aren't aware, because it sounded like you came in a couple of minutes after I started, it's currently 3:40 in the morning for me, so not necessarily firing on 100% of all cylinders. So there we go. So now I need to glue those in. Thank you for that. Now for Jose, just in case you aren't aware. So I could have left that one in its threaded part, but that's fine. It's currently 3:40 in the morning for me, so not necessarily firing on 100% of all cylinders. So there we go. So now I need to glue those in. You've seen me do lots of those. That can be done off screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So. The mirrors. No, take the lid off, Phil. There we go. The merest smear of epoxy for this one. And I'm going to use the one I was using for wiping. The merest smear of epoxy for this one. And I'm going to use the one I was using for wiping. Twisty, twisty, twisty. Make sure both sides are the right way around. All right, I think we got it this time. All right, so we'll leave that to a side for 5 minutes. Put that to the side for 5 minutes. Put them behind me so I can't do anything silly and put my paws all over it. Let's put these threaded couplers back in. There. So, back on track. We got it this time. 6 extra for mistakes. Okay. All right, so we'll leave that to a side for 5 minutes. Yeah, the 105s, I understood the difference because the fittings are slightly different, but that's cool. So, back to putting this printer together. Scrolling through the destruction manual. 6 extra for mistakes. Not that one. That one. Yeah, that'll do. We've done all of this. We put the carriages together. Put the bed in. That's the top plate. The effector. We built the effector. Just for a quick reminder for everybody. We've already put all this together. And that's all assembled. We're going to need to do all the wiring and all that sort of stuff, but that comes in a few minutes. So that's already built. And now it's asking us to mount the effector, which we'll get to once we've got all those rods done. Now, when I read the manual, that's what jumped out to me, and that's why I've been so very careful at cleaning it up. I don't want to have all that icky gooey if I can avoid it. Now, I got asked off stream because somebody was reading the manual what was going on. The reason for the rubber bands is it preloads everything and keeps tension on everything, so it removes some of the slop from the system. Okay, let's assemble the lid, I think. Last week while we were, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, while we were putting everything together, we already put the magnets in because I already had the super glue out. And that's already been double checked against the top of the printer, so they all do stick. What we need to do is we need to use M3/8 and the M40, the 40x10 fan and put that all together. So we need 4 M3x12s into my sorting box. There we go. 6, 8, 10, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And 3 M3/8, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3. Build and make mistakes. Never, that doesn't happen. Is it a 3D printer build if you don't have to disassemble it twice and put it back together? That's the real question. So. I'm going to get a ball head for that because that's quite offset. Build and make mistakes. Never, that doesn't happen. Is it a 3D printer build if you don't have to? I know, get the giggles out, fellas. I know. That's the real question. I'm going to get a ball head for that because that's quite offset. Oh, that's right. We broke the head off the 2mm, didn't we? I have to go with a screwdriver. When we were doing the 3D sets truck many, many moons ago, I accidentally broke the head off the... Oh, that's right. We broke the head off the ball head drivers. Didn't we? I have to go with a screwdriver. When we were doing the 3D sets truck many, many moons ago, I accidentally broke the head off the... Let's just check. I don't... Ah, there we go. There's a little piece of plastic in that hole. Let's just check. I don't... Ah, there we go. Can I easily get that out? So what I've done is I've just used the soldering iron to open up the hole. So hopefully that will let us deal with this more reasonably. So what I've done is I've just used the soldering iron. There we go. To open up the hole. So hopefully that will... Much better. Deal with this more reasonably. Too early in the morning to be wrestling with things like that. There we go. Should have known better than to try and rush. Let's do it this way. Too early in the morning to be just push any last bits of plastic out of the threads. So what I've done, for those who can't quite see, those with old eyes like me, is I've just put one of the M3x20s through the hole just to clear out the threads so that the M38, which is going to be more awkward to insert, will have an easier time. That's where that screw went. So what I've done, for those who can't quite see, those with old eyes like me, is I've just put one of the M3x20s through the hole just to clear out the threads. So I don't think that's quite long enough. I don't think the heat set's deep enough in the plastic, which might have been why I had difficulty with it. Rather than mess around, let's go with an M3x12 on that one. I don't think that's quite long enough. I don't think the heat set's deep enough in the plastic. M3x10 actually. Slightly too long. Rather than mess around. Good thing about the LDO kits is there's usually one or two extras. So this is a leftover from the box turtle. That feels better. M3x10 actually. Slightly too long. Good thing about the LDO kits is there's usually one or two extras. So this is a leftover from the box turtle. There we go, it's bitten. Finally. Now I am considering printing the mod, which is the one-piece lid. But I need to make sure I've got enough filament before I go ahead and start that, because it'll be a huge waste of filament if I don't have enough. So that's in place, but not 100% tight. Now I am considering printing the mod, which is the one-piece lid. And it's the same with this. I need to make sure I've got enough filament before I go ahead and start that, because it'll be a huge waste of filament if I don't have enough. So that's in place, but not 100% tight. Let's see the one that I haven't already screwed together. And the one I haven't already screwed together, sure, is the one that doesn't have the swarf in the hole. So again, a little bit of plastic in the hole. See the one that I haven't already screwed together. And the one I haven't already screwed together, sure, is the one that doesn't have the swarf in the hole. So again, a little bit of plastic in the hole. Sometimes you're better off doing things the wrong way. A lot of this has come about because we decided to put the heat sets in from the back, which is technically the right way to do it. That heat set's also not quite straight. Sometimes you're better off doing things the wrong way. A lot of this has come about because we decided to put the heat sets in from the back, which is technically the right way to do it. That heat set's also not quite straight. The heat set's straight, but there's still a lot of plastic in there. I think I might be better off just plunging it out and putting another one in. Or maybe that cleared it. The heat set's straight, but there's still a lot of plastic in there. I think I might be better off just plunging it out and putting another one. That's better. It's looking a lot more healthy. Or maybe that cleared it. Sorry if that deafened you guys. My apologies. That's better. It's looking a lot more healthy. There we go. That's much better cleaned up. You guys, my apologies. Just reading through chat. When I built the end-to-wire frame from end-to-wire conversion, I got every piece but one wrong. There we go. That's much better cleaned up. Yeah, when you're building a printer, if you don't have to take at least 10% apart, you probably didn't do it right. Or you've built a million of the same one already. When I built the frame from end-to-wire conversion, I got every piece but one wrong. Just like before, I'm running this screw in, and I thought that one might. Too much playing and that the heat sets come loose. And traditional pliers probably aren't going to be able to grip this, so hemostats. Just like before, I'm running this screw in, and I thought that one might. Too much playing and that the heat sets. That's trashed. So, and traditional pliers probably aren't going to be able to grip. Now, in my stash here, I have some slightly larger heat sets. So that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to do it from the outside method. Now, in my stash here, I have some slightly larger heat sets. So that's what I'm going to There we go. Give that a second to cool down. And I'm going to do it from the outside method. Of course, this would happen when we've got a VIP visitor like Jose with us. I'm not normally this clumsy, I promise. Give that a second to cool down. And that one's going to need a slightly longer screw. Because that one went through from the back again, like theoretically is technically the right way to do it. But obviously not the way it was designed. I'm not normally this clumsy, I promise. And that one's going to need a slightly longer screw. Because that one went through from the back again, like theoretically is technically the right way to do it. But obviously not the way it was designed. Penguin's in an optimistic mood today. We should all be in an optimistic mood today. It's Friday. Well, it is for me, at least. There we go. Now that last piece will have had time to cool, and because it was inserted from the base side, it should be fine with the 8. And it is. Because of the angles that was sticking just a little bit. Now I'm going to take a punt at running the cable that way. Base side, it should be fine with the 8. And it is. And it says the screws go in from the bottom. Interesting way to do it. And it looks like it goes that way over. Okay, we can do that. I'm going to take a punt at running the cable that way. So just showing you guys what I'm seeing. If I can find my mouse cursor. And it says the screws go in from the bottom. Interesting way to do it. It says the fan goes on the inside, and it looks to me like the blades are working as an extractor. Should we go and have a look at the electronics bay pictures? There isn't any. Okay. There aren't any pictures. Okay. I am going to make an executive decision, and I'm going to make it be a sucking in fan. Which seems to be the right length in terms of the recesses as well, because if I'd done the fan the other way up, it would have the screws would have been too long and they would have been proud by the looks of it. And remember, I'm screwing into plastic, so. And the other interesting thing is, this is a 3-screw fan. And the instructions don't quite match that. Biddy, good morning. So, back to this. There we go. Fan installed. Let's put the M38 back. That M38 back. And the M320. No, M312. There we go. So lid is built. Let's place that on top for now, and we'll move on to doing another one of our effector arms. All done. Yep, all glued. Very tiniest smear of each. A little bit more than that though. Aligning those by eye, as long as they're close, it shouldn't matter. Pressing them in and moving this all back off camera again so I can't stick myself to anything. Next up. See, it's stick. Now, this is going to be awfully close for you guys, but it should work. Move that, that's what the problem is. Screen 3, Phil. Fit the BTT board. Now, we did briefly open this a couple of weeks ago for a quick glance, but then we put it away again to make sure we didn't do anything silly to it. And there's an LED strip to glue to the inside of the bottom. Should we do that first? Let's do that first. If I had longer screws, I could stack them. Then there's the risk of them dripping and all nasty things happening, Raj. I can see that, I can see the logic in it, but I would rather not have the risk of a drip. So it's not immediately obvious which way around this is supposed to go, because there's no, if you have a look here, there's no hole. So I'm just thinking this through. Let's actually get the Big Tree Tech board. All the high power stuff on one side. I'm just reading through chat, making sure I've not missed any helpful hints and tips. No, it looks like I'm good. That's all the cabling that's going to go down to the lower half of the printer. Okay, let's go to, there we go. Now, Luke, if you're still here, have you come up with where you're going to, which way around you've mounted your board yet? I only got to catch a few minutes of your stream. Did this make sense to do it this way, or did you mount it the other way? Or anybody else for that matter? Brad, how did you mount yours? I mean, we can remove it. I recommend with the USB port towards B. Well, that's what I've got. So 4 M3x6s for this. Now, when this printer launched, even amongst the Big Tree Tech beta team, which I'm a part of, for those of you who don't know, there was some confusion about the board. They were like, everybody was like, wait a minute, we haven't seen or heard about this. And Luke from Big Tree Tech confirmed for us that this is a business-to-business board, so it's not designed to be available to the public, and it's only available via one AliExpress store that's not even affiliated with Big Tree Tech. It's actually designed to be sold to other manufacturers to be used in their custom builds. Actually, Greenbeard's got a good point. That's the risk of spread, or even the two pins being pointing towards each other and pushing the geometry out. So that's all the way into pinch tight. That's not quite tight. There we go. It's better. Right, there we go. So, board is in and secure. That epoxy's still a bit tacky, so we'll leave that for now. So, that's all in place. Now, in order to turn this upside down, we need to support it so that that isn't touching anything. Do we turn upside down? Let's not turn it all the way upside down. Let's just turn it on its side. NeoPixels. What did I do? There we go. The NeoPixel port is which one? Maybe we should switch over to the... Ah, there we go. There's the instructions. RGB strip goes on that one. Which means routing that through there would be a good idea. There's something that needs to be fitted there, but I don't think that's going to actually interfere. And that should fit there to there quite nicely. Okay, so I think I've got this worked out in my head. So in this wide spot from here to here is where I'm going to run the LED strip, which kind of makes sense because that's where the door's going to go on. So the lighting is going to be slightly in front of the tool head most of the time. So that all adds up. Now that might be a problem. So rather than run the risk, don't do this at home, kids. Just very gently scoring the backing so it doesn't get stuck. Tucking that in next to the end stop and all the way across. Next to that end stop. Just like that. It's not quite straight, but it's close. And it is all pretty well stuck down. There we go. So that's in. Now, this I know is where some people came a cropper with the wiring. The end stop wires that come with the end stop switches you don't use. you use the LDO included end stop wires, but they are color coded for a reason. And for most people, apparently, the end stop wires have the tag saying end stop. So it says stop at one end and optical end stop at the other. Some people only had one tag on theirs, and it led to some confusion. If you, depending on which kit you've got and when it was made, obviously there's going to be some variance. Have a very close look at this diagram I'm about to put up on the screen, and it will hopefully eliminate some of this. Have a look very closely. The dots are marked for a reason. So red, black, white, red, black, white. If we then have a look here, red, black, white at that end, red, black, white. At the other end, the white is in the middle. So you need to make sure that you 100% have these the right way around. So let's do the C stop first because it's already closer to there. So the white is in the middle. Red to the heat sink, that's right. Red, black, white. That goes to port C. The C stop first because it's already closer to there. So red to the heat sink, that's right. Do as I say, not as I do. That's half the magic of being a teacher, my man. Red, black, white. That goes to port B. Do as I say, not as I do. And that's half the magic of being a teacher, my man. Red, black, white. Into port A. Red, black, white. That one's a little bit more awkward because I've got to squeeze it past the LED strip. There we go. Now pulling that LED strip back in and pressing that all in nice and tight. Done. Double checking again. Red, black, white, red, black, white, red, black, white. Okay, so they are in properly. Again, just confirming for everybody, these end stop wires are polarized. You do have to put them in the right way around. And red, black, white goes to the border end. Now we need the power in. Double checking again. Red, black, white, red, black, white, red, black, white. Okay, so they are in properly. Again, just confirming for everybody, these end stop wires are polarized. You do have to put them in the right way around. And red, black, white goes to the border end. Now we need the power in. So let's go back to here for you guys. Let's swap this to that one. There we go. Then you can see a little bit better about what I'm doing from multiple angles. So that's the main power input. That needs a proper electrical screwdriver, which I'll just quickly grab. and positive goes to the heatsink. Tucking those right in, right up to the ferrule. Make sure there's absolutely no risk of anything shorting. There we go. Don't like that Phillips head. The electrical screwdriver, it's a bit rubbish. All right. Cover that over. Now, putting this to the side again for a moment. Where'd I put my little cup? There it is. And we'll do another one of these. 1, 2, and glue. What time is it? Oh, we're making reasonable progress at least. Two. Aligning the 2 by eye. Putting that out of the way. The paper out of the way. And back to building. What's everybody saying in chat? Not a lot. I got abused by Kegel, and then we just realized chat's not up on that screen. There we go. That's better. So next thing we need is controller fan, which we're not going to plug in because that's on the lid. So we'll leave that for now. Wi-Fi antenna is probably a good thing to do. I just saw it. I had it here a few moments ago. Very easy to lose track of things when you're doing this. We'll come back to the Wi-Fi antenna. I'm sure I'll find it shortly. Usually turns up. That's all the Triangle Labs wiring, which I'm assuming we're going to need in a moment. Hot end sensor, bed sensor, heated bed. That's the hot end wiring. So let's do that. Now, hot end wiring isn't polarized, so it doesn't really matter which way we do it, but purely and simply because people have neurodiversity, I'm going to keep all the reds on one side, and I'm going to quickly grab a small precision screwdriver to do up that terminal. So for these terminals, these are the ones that you have to undo, and it pushes down a little mechanism, and then you screw it back together and it pulls that little mechanism back up. So counterintuitively, the wires are tight when they're at the top of the hole. So to make that very clear for everybody. So that is for the hot end, which means that one's probably going to go through. Let's do it through this one for now. Or is that not going to fit that way? Has to be done the other way around. That's fine. We can fix that. Let's go over to that. There we go. Now the red one's definitely in the right spot. I might need to check on the white one in a moment. Let's go over to that. Oh no, it is in the right spot. That's fine. Now it's always a good idea to actually hold the terminal when you're tightening these. I've seen people actually tear the terminals off the boards. Oh no, I did miss. That's fine. There we go. So that's now in place. Plenty of slack on that, so that's fine. Bed power. That's a big fat microfit 3 cable. Have I misread this? No, that definitely says hot end. MISC Delta Flyer. AC adapter. That's all the stepper wiring. Power supply. Power cord. That's the end stop wiring. I did think it was strange when I was looking through everything that I couldn't find this wire. It's not the end of the world if it's not here, but I've got stuff I could replace it with. It will just be odd. That's the end stop wiring. I did think it was strange when I was looking through everything that I couldn't find this wire. It's not the end of the world if it's not here, but I've got stuff I could replace it with. It will just be odd. So Luke, you're saying that the either the cable's mislabeled or all right, let's have a look in the Triangle Lab box. RGB cable is in the wrong place on the board. You're right. Fixing that now. And that means I've also got my end stops in the wrong place. All right, let's have a look in the Triangle Lab box. 1, 2, Sorry. RGB cable's in the wrong place on the board. You're right. Fixing that now. And that means I've also got my end stops in the wrong place. Okay, so let's get all this swapped around. That means that that needs to come out of there and go back, go down there. All right. Thanks, Luke. So Jose, if you're around, that's something to note. Okay, so let's get all this. This cable is labeled as hot end, and it's actually the heated bed cable we've worked out. Thanks, Luke. So Jose, if you're around, that's something to note. So the bed is those two. This cable is labeled as hot end, and it's actually the heated bed cable we've worked out. So the bed is those two. No, for those of you who are confused why that has to move, there's actually a little wiring cover duct thingy that goes down from here to the bottom of the printer, and that's going to be going through that duct. So that's in place. No, for those of you who are confused why that has to move, there's actually a little cable thingy that goes down through. That's there. That's there. Bottom of the printer. And that's hot end. That's in place. These are both black wires, so it doesn't really matter. And they're both crimped red. Hot end. These are. Everybody's gone really quiet except Luke. So it doesn't really matter. Probably somebody else streaming. And they're both crimped red. There we go. So that's in place. We've got hot end, we've got heated bed, we've got the power in, hot end sensor. There we go. So that's in place. We've got hot end, we've got heated bed, we've got the power. JST goes there. So that will connect to that. Just enough room to squeeze that through. Hot end sensor is the one next to the Wi-Fi antenna. Greenie's still here. Just enough room to squeeze. Now I'm leaving these tails crazy long at this point, and then we can pull them back up. What I'll probably do is, as part of my cable management, is I'll probably shorten a lot of that stuff when we get there. I don't like having huge clumps of cables. The other thing I did while I was thinking about things is I've mounted the power inlet, because the power comes in here, I understand. So that's all done. Let's just go around. Hot end fan is the next one. Is that the hot end fan? Is there and there. I've just grabbed the thermistor for the heated bed. Now, I had a way worked out stacking this to make it easy. If I close my part sorter and I grab the Triangle Labs box that the hot end came in, I can do this. There's the spot for the thermistor, wherever I just put it, there. If I close my part sorter and I grab the Triangle Labs box that the hot end came in, I can do this. Now I'm being super careful with this to make sure I don't actually strain the wires inside that point. Okay. I did that almost entirely off camera, didn't I? There we go. So just screwed that right into the center of the bed. And which corner is it that this goes up? This one. That's why I can't see it. I did that almost entirely off camera, didn't I? There we go. So just screwed that right into the center of the bed. I'm on tippy toes just to see over the top of the printer. Just realized a new episode of my anime came out today. I've mentioned to you before, Penguin, anime is not really my bag. There we go. Just realized a new episode of my anime came out today. Pulling that very gently out and down. Now, there we go. The cable we ran for the bed is now there. Let's click that together before we forget. Let's double check everything. That's the fuse in case the bed gets too hot. That's the heater input there. That's the thermistor. We're going to need to run our motor wiring. Let's double check everything. That's the fuse in case the bed gets too hot. That's the heater input there. All the fiddly bits, that's right. That's the thermistor. We're going to need to run our motor wiring. I'm thinking it's going to be a lot easier if I undo that screw. JPP, how are you? Now, I've been struggling to fit the wires through. And they all need to come up through here. So I suspect I'm going to be better off loosening that panel a little bit. JPP, how are you? So that I can do that. Let's put this to a side. We've hit our 5-minute timer again. Well, long since hit our 5-minute timer. That's the 6mm screw. And they all need to come up through. So let's do another effector rod. Now it's becoming painfully obvious we're not going to get all the effector rods done during the stream. But that's not such a big issue. I could do the last off stream. You guys have seen me do enough of them now. That's there, that's there. Put that to a side. So let's do another effector rod. Now it's becoming painfully obvious we're not going to get all the effector rods done during the stream. That's not. Please hit like if you haven't already, JPP, and anybody else who hasn't. They're all getting a bit used up. There, that's there. Put that to the side. See, I did do a little bit of preparation. I grabbed myself a whole bunch of these little cocktail sticks for stirring with. Please hit like if you haven't already, JCP, and anybody else who hasn't. They're all getting a bit used up. See, I did do a little bit of preparation. Not that I'm not good at stirring in my own right before RJ says it. Not that I'm not good at stirring in my own right before RJ says it. Just aligning those by eye again and putting it back out of harm's way before I stick myself to something. Back to the printer. So what I was going to do, when I can find my screwdriver, because things are all over the place again, I need to tidy up a bit more, is we're going to loosen one of the bottom panels to make it easy to get the plugs through. This one. So that's where the cable duct is. So I'm just going to loosen this panel a little bit. Because things are all over the place again, I need to tidy up a bit more. Is we're going to loosen one of the bottom panels to make it easy to get the plugs through. In fact, that screw too. So that's where the cable duct is. So I'm just going to loosen this panel a little bit. That's better. Give us a bit more space. That screw too. I think this way up might be easier. That's better. Give us a bit more space. So let's do the C motor first. A, B, C, so the effectively middle port, yes. Which just happens to be the closest one to us. So let's do the... Now I have to be careful, remember guys, because the board is in now. B, C, so the effectively middle port, yes. Penguin wants to go back to building his printer. Just happens to be the closest one to us. Firmware sucks. The firmware on this is actually really easy. Greenbeard, if you haven't already seen somebody building one of these. The reason it's not too bad is it's basically all done for you. You just copy the CFG file and it's done. Penguin wants to go back to building his printer. Firmware sucks. The firmware on this is actually really easy. Greenbeard, if you haven't already seen somebody building one of these. The reason it's not too bad is it's basically all done for you. You just copy the CFG file and it's done. There we go. That is going to be motor B. So motor B is that one. Motor C. Oh, sorry, this will be motor A, won't it? That is going to be motor B. Now, what I've done that seems to be making life easier is I've bent the cable like this. So it's at 90 degrees. It just gives me that little bit more wiggle room to get it through. Oh, sorry, this will be motor A, won't it? Yeah. Now, what I've done that seems to be making life easier is motor A, plug. 90 degrees. It just gives me that little bit more wiggle room to get it through. Motor A, plug, and that's in place. And that's already been plugged in. So let's go around this one more time. Hot end fan. Extruder. Extruder's probably the next one. Now the extruder goes to the outside, so I'm just going to plug that into its port. So let's go around this one more time. Hot end fan. Aha, good job I checked. I got this all backwards. Always double check your wiring. Now the extruder goes to the outside, so I'm just going to plug that into its port. Aha, good job I checked. I got this all backwards. Always double check your wiring. They are going to come up here. Now I'm not going to put the fan wires in yet. The one good reason we haven't mounted the effector and I don't want to accidentally pull a plug off. That's the hot end. We do need to run this one up. They are going to come up. This is the heated bed thermistor. Now I'm not going to put the fan wires in yet. Heated bed sensor goes 1, 2. There. That's the hot end. Motor, all those motors. We do need to run this one up. Just making sure everything is going roughly vaguely where it's supposed to go. That certainly looks like it. Heated bed sensor goes 1, 2. I'm just scrolling through the manual quickly, just making sure looking for roughly vaguely where it's supposed to go. That certainly looks like it. Things we can do while we wait. Why don't we mount the hinges for the door and mount the door handle? Now, from memory, we're going to have to take that panel off to do that. Yeah, those two panel covers need to come off. Those two. Why do they need to come off? The head of the screw is recessed. Makes it all nice and neat.
Now, let's go back to that one. Take the printer off screen for a minute. Effector over there, glue there. Door hinges. The hinge is already in place here. Here we go. Use 4 M3x6 screws to attach the door to the hinges. We can do that. Install the right panel screws. 4 M5x10s to M3x20s. That's what I was looking for. 12, 16, 20. So that screw is going to go all the way through there. That screw is going to go all the way through there. Wrong way around, that way. Are they supposed to be heat set? Yeah, they're supposed to be heat set. Hold on, Phil. Warm the soldering iron up, it won't take long. Two heat sets at the ready. Steel edge ruler at the ready. Warming up, warming up, warming up. 200 degrees, that should be good. I don't think a ruler is quite the right solution. It's not going to be big enough. Oh, so it's going to be too big, rather. That ruler's a little narrower. That one will work. That looks good. There we go. Which new Star Wars movie are we talking about here? Mad Dog, are we talking about Mando and Grogu? That fits. It's a little stiff, but that's probably a win. I don't tend to go to the movies for much because I've got a pretty decent home theater setup. But that's one thing that my wife and I are definitely going to go see at the movies. Have I got this in the wrong way up? Was I right the first time? No. Ah, that heat set's spinning. Should have let it cool a little longer, I think. There's all sorts of wild speculation about whether this is where they kill off Mando. Because he even says in the movie and the trailers that Grogu's going to live for hundreds of years without him. John Doe, hello. We're finally starting to get to the point where we're buttoning up the printer. You missed an epic confusion session where I almost screwed up all the effector arms. Now, I'm not going to repeat the same mistake. I'm going to give that chance to cool down. That one's there. Let's unwrap the door while we wait. Now, all of these panels have been laser cut by the looks of it. Everybody was screaming in chat, "No, Phil, stop!" And it took me a few moments to spot the no Phil stop because of the delay. So that is the panel that has the cable guides on it. That is the other side panel. And this one is the door. Ender 3 CNC. Nice work. Are you using a Dremel for the router? John? Just trying to get this. There we go. Are we ready for the peel? For all you peel aficionados. Oh, it's split. One. Now, I should be pretty good at this. I do this all the time for the kids at school. There we go. You can switch to controllable routes when you get the, yeah. Too rubbery. The acrylic I normally use at school has a paper backing on it, and some of it's a little bit old, so sometimes we have to use the heat gun to warm it up. I'm just checking the frame. So that's going to go there and there, and the handle is going to go. So the handle doesn't. The handle does matter. There, okay. Door is going to go that way up. Now, to try and mitigate the risk of scratching anything, I'm going to do it on top of this piece of. I'm going to do it on top of my part sorter. And that's just nipped tight. Assume it's going to sit like that so that the points is top and bottom. And wishbone. It must be driving you nuts, Penguin, with your build, because I built mine, it might be 2.4 350 in a weekend. I can't imagine the frustration of seeing, well, at least it's at James's place, so it's not in your field of view the whole damn time. There. That's not the wrong size. That's not the right size. That's the smaller one. That's definitely too small. Sorry, I know this is a little bit off screen, but I'm just putting that panel piece on with the that we glued earlier for the door. There we go. Now this should have had plenty of time to cool by now. I just saw that driver. Where did I put it? That's the 2.5. There it is. There we go. And in principle, now that hinge pin's not quite straight. I might have to adjust the heat set, I think. In principle, that will go on like that. And the magnet does stick, so I'm on track. Where are we at time-wise? Probably got time for one more effector arm and then we'll call it. So take that off and put that there where it's not going to touch anything. The good thing is we managed to get to 4 of 6 of the effector arms during the stream. There's the missing driver. That one. And that one. And there's the glue. Here's my steri patch, which means I'm only actually going to be setting up one effector arm off stream. Cocktail stick. I've gone quiet again, haven't I? Keep talking, Phil. Just twisting it all the way up as I go, just to make sure that we get a nice even spread of the epoxy all the way up. Now aligning that all by eye so it's reasonably close. There we go. Put that back out of the way so I can't make a mess. Well, I can make a mess, just less of a mess at least. And done. So, screwdriver there. Now, what do I need to do? Don't forget to turn off your camera AI. Oh yeah, I still need to do that, don't I? It's not been playing up too badly today, at least. What we still need to do, we need to do the last effector arm, which I'll do off stream because 5 is enough. You've seen plenty of them. Next stream, we then need to double check the wiring, make sure everything's good, fit the effector, and then the extension cable for the hot end heater and for the thermistor, and put everything all together and install the firmware. And oh, one thing we might be able to do is, can we mount the extruder? That might give us something to do for a few minutes. Let's jump across to here. Install the extruder in Pt4. Attach the back left panel using six M310s. Oh, so I need to install this to the Perspex panel. Okay, we can do that. Just having a look at the way this works. That screws to there, motor screws to the back of that. Let's at least assemble this part. We can get this part done. Starting to warm up here. It's 28 degrees outside and it's 5 a.m. 5:10 a.m. Three screws. That's going to mount that way. That's going to mount to it. They're going to go through that way and into the motor. I need the last of the 4 motors. There it is. So let's go back to this one. I just quickly slid the motor into its mount. Easy enough done. I'm wondering if that way might actually... So I'm just thinking this through. So let's have a look at this instruction manual. If I have the motor turned this way, it means that the... Yeah, that's going to make sense. So I'm going to actually mount it so that the cable points straight up. That will mean that it can go, have the cable sticking out far less, and it will go straight into the motor, into the cable duct here. So I think that's going to be the most logical way to do that. That then mounts to it that way. So what we need to do is we need to put all this together. Now, for anybody who's assembled a stealth burner before, this is pretty straightforward. It's basically a stealth burner without the stealthy bit. That's the tensioner. Oh, that goes that way, that's right. Now I'm just going to grab a little piece of filament from the floor. That'll do. Nothing's going to go wrong with a piece of filament from the floor. That's a little bit too trashed. Now the reason that filament I'm not worried about is It's actually the very dregs of a spool. So that's perfect tension. This doesn't have any thread locker on it. I just had my thread locker yesterday for something else I was doing. There it is. Yes, blue nail polish. Why blue? There's no way my wife would ever want to steal it. There's a little bit too much on there. So just tightening that on. Test fit. No slop whatsoever, so I'm happy with that. Give that a slightly bigger tweak. There we go. So next, that's going to go against the panel. That's going to point upwards. That then goes through to the inside of the printer based on what I'm seeing on the picture, just to show you guys. So here we go, that's the tensioner screw. So, oh, pulled it all apart. It's not screwed together yet, Phil. 1, 2, 3, 2.5mm driver. Screwing forever. I'll let you make your own actress and whoever comments. So there we go. So that on next stream, once we've got the panel actually attached to the printer, we'll screw to the printer like that. And yeah, then we'll run the Pt4 and all the rest of that stuff, but that's all in place. Let's put that to one side so I don't damage it and go back to here. So where are we at? I need to quickly tweak those hinges. They're not quite aligned quite right, and I'm not 100% happy, so I'll do that off stream. I need to do that one last effector arm off stream, and then we need to continue with the last little bits off stream, which will hopefully be software install, double check the wiring, PID tune, and yeah, it should be hopefully pushing plastic next week. This has taken a little bit longer than I was hoping it would. I think it only took Steve and Killer like 2 or 3 streams, but they get much longer stream windows than I do, so yeah, it works for them. I have been Phil. I have been the Down Under Maker. It's been great having you here. We had a bunch of new visitors today, including Jose from LDO. So hopefully the LDO guys will pay some more visits, and hopefully maybe they'll be able to look after us with some other stuff. I will see you all next week and in chat on various other streams. Have a good one. Time for me to hop on out of here. Bye, guys.